Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Comic Cave Podcast. My name is Chris, and as always, I'm here with my hetero life mate, Mister
Russ.
And today, and also, we have a special guest.
They found me.
We found this guy. He was somewhere in the depths of Coast City. What were you doing in Coast City? I don't know.
We'll find out.
Trying to be an Abin Sewer follower. Anyway, today's episode, we will be discussing the highly anticipated Spider-Man No Way Home coming up next on Comic Cave. And we're back with a long-awaited episode of Comic Cave. Now, some stuff has happened to us in the past because Russell.
Because what?
So he was doing his Dragon Ball reviews, and YouTube didn't agree with it. So
I thought I was going by the copyright laws for America, but Japan has stricter copyright laws. So that page is down. We had to make a new page. Help us out. We need to get back to 100 subscribers. We are going to do our next giveaway at 100 instead. And it was one of the items that is not the items that was on this table. Not these items.
Wasn't it your Joker?
Not the Batman.
No, you decided. Not you decided. It was something else. We have to go back and look at what the giveaway was. But it was a figure, and I'll put that up at the end of the video, or he will, whoever's editing this.
So today, I mean, it's been a while, but hopefully you know, spoilers, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home has been out for what, 3 weeks now? It's been a while. It's been out for a while now.
If you haven't seen it yet, like, what are you doing?
Save money.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get into that.
Now, okay, so in our discussion, Spider-Man No Way Home, they are going to be, I'm going to be the moderator, they're going to be discussing it because they have more of a stronger feelings. Now, I have feelings too, but not as strong as them.
Fight me, bro. Fight me.
We'll go. Let's go.
Ding, ding. All right, so I'm going to go first. Spider-Man No Way Home for me was the not perfect, but the okay wrap-up of the home trilogy, Disney's Marvel home trilogy, Sony home trilogy. I thought it was pretty okay, but I think this movie was marketed on nostalgia, which I think that shouldn't be a thing. But once again, I'm very biased because I think Ghostbusters Afterlife was great. It made me cry. And that was marketed clearly off nostalgia. But also had a good storyline. But we're not talking about that. So Spider-Man No Way Home. Take it away, guys.
All right, well, I will say, yes, you're right. A lot of it was grounded in nostalgia, and a lot of the sales probably came from nostalgia. But for me, it was still a good film despite that. I think that the storyline was still really good. I think that each character had a good wrap-up within their own mythos and their own stories. I think Tom Holland's Spider-Man got a really good character development. Part of the reason why I liked it a lot is because I had one main issue with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which we'll get into in a minute. And this kind of, I don't want to say rectified that issue, but it moved it in a direction that now gets rid of what my main issue was. So to me, it now made Tom Holland Spider-Man even more likable, and I just genuinely I enjoyed the film. But some other people have other opinions.
I'm going to be that guy. I felt like the film, like Chris said, nostalgia. There are a lot of plot holes, a lot of
I want to get into these plot holes because there's only one.
Unnecessary characters. Why can't any comic book film use a lizard person accurately? They're just there. They're just there.
I will say that, okay, so the Lizard's character and Sandman's character didn't get much shine within this film or story. I mean,
he just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
He was only there for 3 days. 3.
Was that? I didn't pay attention.
Doctor Strange said I was trapped for 24 hours.
Right.
So, I'm a villain.
Which was a reference back to Loki falling for 3 hours or whatever. That was funny.
I've been falling for 3 hours.
Anyways,
in terms of comedy,
yeah, there's a lot of characters. Each of them, I wouldn't say that the film was comedic though. Like that's not. I didn't get the goal out of that. All right, so let's get into it. So you didn't like it. You said that there were plot holes within it. I want to start with that. Because there's only one plot hole that I will recognize. What are your plot holes?
You start with your plot hole.
My plot hole? The main plot hole in this film for me was Electro not knowing that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, so how did he come into that universe? That is a big plot hole because that is a main driving factor within the story. However, I think that there was a lot of good things that also came out of this film that didn't just necessarily break the film for me. It is a plot hole that I'll definitely recognize, but it didn't break the film for me. Any other plot hole that I've thought about, I saw how it wasn't actually a plot hole and they rectified it. So I want to hear, because maybe you thought of some stuff that I haven't thought of. Let's go.
Okay. Plot hole number one. First, let me answer, because I've heard some people say how he does know.
Okay.
One was Gwen Stacy says Peter, and you see Electro's eyes open, like, oh, he overheard it. Another one was when he's in the electrical
So
web.
you're helping my side. Let's go.
No, because that's how I do it. The electrical web that he might have gotten into files that said Peter, and it's, you are Spider-Man. Now, I feel like that's the fans coming up with that rather than the story being
flat out saying, right.
Plot hole, or very inconsistent. We'll start at the end. Where, because I know someone says it's a good summation of Tom Holland. When he's beating up Green Goblin, he doesn't actually become a good character. It's Toby that grabs the glider, so it's like that defeats the whole purpose of him becoming Spider-Man. He's not the one that's making the conscious decision to save Norman, because he's killing him.
But see, that's what something that I actually liked about it, because that's not a part of Tom Holland's Spider-Man's journey. That is a wrap up for Tobey's journey, and this is something that we talked about earlier. Tobey was very selfish within especially Spider-Man 3 within his series, and him then sacrificing himself gives him the what is it? That's character development for him. He is no longer being that selfish person. He has now, what's the word I'm looking for? Not justified. He's overcome that. He's not rectified. What's the right word that I'm looking for? That
Closing?
Was no, just but like so how Andrew Garfield saved the girl. That was his. What's the word I'm looking for? That was
catharsis.
Him. Not catharsis. No. I hate that I'm getting caught up on this word right now, and it's always like while we're in the middle of this shit. But that was him putting a close to him not saving his girl, right? That's what closed out his story. So that's what I feel Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man sacrificing himself, that did for his story within his. That's why I was saying I think that each one of the Spider-Man and each villain, to an extent, some of them done better than others, but they each had something within their story that allowed them to overcome the trial that we had seen previously.
See, but I have issues with that, because it's like in Spider-Man 3, he does have a definitive ending that he's still going to be Spider-Man. He loses his best friend. Mm-hmm. I still have to be Spider-Man at the end of the day. At the end of the funeral, we see him doing this.
But he didn't sacrifice himself. His best friend sacrificed
but that's
himself.
What I'm saying. Not everyone, because if you say sacrifice, Harry had to sacrifice himself because what he's done through 2 and 3.
Right, and that's what put a good close to Harry within Spider-Man 3. Dang, okay, that's not standing up. All right, Goku's gonna go away. Yeah, Goku's gonna go away. This is one of my new figures, guys, by the way. I enjoy it a lot, but it's going to go away.
But that's what I'm saying with Toby. Remember we discussed it. It wasn't Toby being a jerk. It's the symbiote that removes your inhibitors.
See, okay, and then this is when we got into that conversation. See, okay, so I agree and I disagree with that. Mm-hmm. The symbiote only amplified the emotion that he had within him. If we're going to talk about, and this might be me, I will admit, I don't want to say reaching, but similarly to the other fans coming up with the conclusion for how Electro made his connection of knowing Peter. I relate that to the comics in the sense that originally Peter was, I don't want to say a bully, he was always bullied, but if he was given power, he admits himself that he would be a jerk. He would be more of a bully, right? So in his heart, that's just emotions that he had already been battling and already feeling. So when he wore the symbiote suit, all it did was bring out those actions and those emotions that he already had. That's still him. Yes, it amplified it, but that was still him. And that's still his own personal battle.
So when we see him as regular Spider-Man, we don't see that aggressiveness, though. That's what I'm saying. It's the symbiote that, if you want to say enhances, but I'll say it removes your inhibitors, because we could say, well, his time as Spider-Man 1, he's not that aggressive. He will stop burglaries and stuff. But when he gets a symbiote, he starts slapping people. His confidence skyrockets because we get the 5-minute him dancing. So that's what I'm saying. It has to be the symbiote that's doing more of the enraging him than just when he gets a spider bite. Because he's a hero, though.
But that's still just bringing out characteristics that he already had in him. That's not.
That's what I'm saying. It's a removal rather than an aggressiveness.
How is that bad? How is that?
Well, I'm saying because we can say with Spider-Man 1, because you said he already had these, and if he had power. Mm-hmm. But when he's Spider-Man, he already has power. He's stronger than he was when he was a bully. Now, I think we talked about the thing with Flash, but remember, he was reflex because the spider sense goes off, that he's defending himself. Mm-hmm. But when he gets the symbiote, we can look at the classic scene with Eddie. I don't like what you're doing to Spider-Man. He slams his head against the picture frame.
Right.
That he's aggressive now. Mm-hmm. But when he's regular Spider-Man, it's... Yeah, we could say he's belittling the villains like we did with the ethic videos.
Right.
But he's not trying to put someone's head through a wall. He's still reserved, but when symbiote...
But that's what I'm saying.
What does that have to do with No Way Home?
It's still an internal battle.
Character
because
arc.
That's the character arc of Toby. It's the reason why I'm cool with Toby having sacrificed himself and not Tom Holland. That wasn't Tom Holland's journey. That was supposed to be Toby's journey.
I can't say that it's Toby's journey if you're just saying based off of the Spider-Man 3 because that's a symbiote. And we got to close to that.
But see, what I'm saying is that the symbiote is just amplifying who Toby already was and emotions that he was already feeling.
But
that's
what
still
I'm saying.
him. And that's still decisions that he has to live with.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's removing stuff because the only thing he really does that's negative in Spider-Man 3, Sandman forgives him. Because remember, he almost kills him.
Well, even before then, he decides to kiss the other girl and stuff. So
yeah,
he gets sucked up into being Spider-Man and being this
but
figure.
Remember, it's the black suits Spider-Man, not the regular one. That's what I'm saying. We have to tell the difference.
Was he wearing the black suit at that time?
Yeah. When he's more confident, that's what I'm saying. It's removing all of
those inhibitors. I feel you.
So that's why he's doing this stuff. But when he gets Spider-Man, he's still the good kid that we all know. He's not kissing Mary Jane or slapping people he doesn't like.
I agree to that. I still say that.
I mean, even Dr. Connor says like it amplifies rage and
right. It just amplifies it, but it's still emotions that he was already battling. These are still thoughts that he already had. He just wasn't acting on.
Yeah, when you drink, it removes the inhibitors.
Cool.
So let's say you're an aggressive person. Uh-huh. You don't have this, like we said in our other conversation, the social norms anymore. It's removed now. So he's becoming more aggressive. But when he's regular Spider-Man, he does have power. He's not a dick about it, though.
Okay, so move the conversation. Comic book
Spider-Man was a dick, though. Whenever he'd beat the shit out of a villain, he'd make fun of him.
Yeah, that's why I said about the ethics. But when he becomes symbiote Spider-Man, no, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's removing
when he was fighting
social cues of this is how. That's why.
Whenever he slaps Mary Jane, he's like, "Oh fuck."
To move the conversation to get on to like a next topic. Well, at this point, I'm just gonna say I understand what you're saying. I just disagree. It's just a disagreement, I guess. I still view it as, regardless of it being the suit that's making him do it, these are still thoughts and actions that he took, and these are still consequences that he has to deal with.
Was he impaired? Let's say that.
Why does that matter?
Because if he's impaired, that's saying that he normally wouldn't do stuff like that. Like when people drink, you will say, yeah, you might have felt like it, but you're not who you normally are because it's a drug to him.
But it's still...
That's what I'm saying. No other villains he's trying to kill.
It's still one actions that he took, and it's still thoughts that he would have had. So when he pushed, go back to Spider-Man 1, when he faces who he thought killed Uncle Ben, and he pushes him out the window, or I can't remember exactly what happens there. But I mean, that even proves that he still had that within him.
Yeah.
And it's still thoughts that he had. So even
But that was his precipice of like, oh shit, this isn't right.
Yeah, because he says it in the film that's not.
But still, regardless, those emotions, those thoughts, those feelings, all that is still a part of him. And so these are still character traits that he has to further overcome. And regardless of if the symbiote was that factor or like, as you said, a like alcohol form. Like,
I agree with Torrin.
Well, because I'm not trying to cut you off, but let's look at the Green Goblin, the first fight. He's not trying to kill him. Even though he knows that Goblin is trying to ruin his life.
Right.
That remember, he's still, you're my best friend's dad.
Right.
I'm going to help you.
And like a father figure to him.
Yeah, so remember, he doesn't try to go for the killing blow. He's restrained.
That's the same thing for Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Yeah, but when the symbiote comes, the fight with Sandman and Harry, I don't care anymore. Like, you're going to get what you deserve. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference between the power and the symbiote. It removes who you are.
I get that. I still don't think that...
That's what Dr. Connor said.
Right. I still don't think that negates the actions that he took. Like, regardless, like, if somebody gets fucking drunk, right, and they do something stupid, the court's not going to be like, oh, well, you were impaired, you're now justified, we'll blame it on the alcohol. No, you're still going to go to jail. Like, you're still going to get...
They'll say, like, because remember we talked about it, it's not, what is it, not homicide, I'm sorry about this, where they say you plan to do it. It's a passion crime. It's not first degree murder.
It's not involuntary?
Yeah, because you didn't plan it. You just...
So your sentence might be a little bit less or different or something like that, but you're still going to get the negative consequence of what you've done. So that's what I'm saying. That regardless of how much of a factor the symbiote was, I still think that was still actions that he took, consequences that he now has to deal with, and now something that he has to rectify.
But we're saying we know how the symbiote is. That there are characters that get the symbiote where Eddie Brock's wife in the comics, she's raped and stuff like that, but she eats the people that do it. Now she says, yeah, I was upset, but the symbiote made me do it because I would never go to this degree of it, to the point where she kills herself after Brock takes
which version are we talking about?
This is, I think, the 90s one, because Venom... Eddie
we're talking about in the comics, though.
Yeah, in the comics.
Okay.
Eddie Brock's wife does get the symbiote at a point. And she has to kill herself because she knows what happens, like Peter, but they know this isn't who I am, though. Because that's why it's the epic, I had to get this off of me because it's making me a monster.
Right.
Hank Pym slapping...
At that point in time...
Van Dyne.
I can't remember if at this point in time it becomes canon in the sense that the symbiote is not necessarily inherently evil itself.
Yeah.
It's that it fed off of the anger of Peter, and then when it transferred over to Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock had the anger for Spider-Man, the symbiote itself became corrupted.
They said that recently Deadpool is what makes symbiote goes crazy. Then it feeds off of the anger of other people. And it goes to her, then it comes back to Eddie.
Right, so the symbiote itself has just become corrupted at that point.
So that's why I'm saying we can say, that they do the actions, but we can't blame them because we know the symbiote is a corruptible force to people. Because think about it, what character has the symbiote not corrupted? Flash gets corrupted.
Right.
Eddie, to a certain degree, because we know he was mad at Peter.
Right.
Peter gets corrupted. Eddie Brock becomes corrupted. So there's a list of characters.
But you still are saying that excuses the behavior? I disagree.
It explains it. It's not saying that. Think about it. Peter
it explains it, but it doesn't excuse it.
So what you're saying is you're saying that everyone is...
Russell's all about justice.
But I'm saying you're removing the human aspect of Peter, because Peter should be able to say, I don't like this, but I'm not acting on it. But if I were to give you the symbiote, like I said, you don't feel like it would remove the inhibitors and allow you to...
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm agreeing with what it does. I'm just saying that doesn't excuse it. That still doesn't mean that, Peter now doesn't feel like he has to right the wrongs that he did within the symbiote suit.
He does, though. Because at the end, he goes and he tries to get rid of Venom, even though Harry does kill... I think it's Harry. With the bomb, or is it Peter? When they blow up Venom.
It was Harry that threw the bomb.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, when you look at that,
that's what I'm saying. Harry, then that was Harry coming full circle with his wrongdoings. Hey everyone, Russ here. Unfortunately, our camera cut out around 21 minutes into this video, so you're gonna have about 21 minutes of seeing our beautiful faces, and then it's going to cut to an image, and you'll hear the rest of the conversation. Hope you enjoy. So again, regardless of...
But what do you mean by wrongdoings, though, for Peter? The only thing he really does...
No, for Harry.
I'm saying for Peter, he slaps Mary Jane.
He slaps Mary Jane. He just became more of an aggressive person, and he never, at any point, like, I guess... Yes, he recognizes that the symbiote, he removes the symbiote, but that doesn't necessarily, like... what's the word? Man, it's that word that I'm looking for.
Redemption?
Yeah, it doesn't redeem him from what he had done. But he needs that redemption arc, and that's what.
But in the movie, they say we talked about it,
and he talks about it.
We're good.
In Spider-Man 3. That's what I'm saying. When we look at the scene with Tom Holland, Toby has already made up for that. But what I'm saying is, when he's beating up Norman, which I don't know how Norman has no bruises on him, because it's like, you just...
Well, the Goblin serum still amplifies his strength.
But I understand the strength, but it's like, it doesn't prevent you from physical damage. Because,
No, I get you.
Goblin throws him, power bombs him.
Movies, look, bro.
We're going to take a quick short break, because I have to go do something, and Russell put up a little fucking... we'll be right back. And we're back. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, I was just saying that at the end, when Tom is beating up Green Goblin, it's the message is kind of missed because he's about to kill Norman. Mm-hmm. That we can't say, oh, he agrees with Aunt May, because remember that's the premise of they deserve a second chance. No, Tom, you're about to kill Norman, because remember he picks up the glider.
Right.
That I'm like, that's a missed opportunity where we see it all the time with Batman, where it's no, I'm not going to kill you.
I get what you're saying on that, but I just don't think to the original topic that was Tom Holland's journey within this story. His journey was a journey that we have had before, in the sense of he needed to learn how to be on his own. And what was that conversation that we had about that? Do you remember?
What?
What we were saying, or what I was saying, Tom Holland's journey within the story was. We'll get to that.
That's what I'm saying, because
that's going to trigger my next thought
third
process.
film makes it seems like there's two things going on. He needs to be by his own, and he needs to learn a lesson about letting things be the way it is. But then when we see Aunt May dies, it's like
But that's the only thing. Aunt May dying was the only thing that was going to push him over the edge to stop wanting to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Stop wanting to be Spider-Man in general.
He fails at that though, because he does not learn that lesson when he's about to kill Goblin. It's Toby that shows up. Now I guess you could say he's.
But that's what I'm saying. That's supposed to be a part of Toby's fucking story.
But how, when we see that Goblin kills Aunt May? Aunt May's dying wishes, no. You did the right thing. But now that it's time to show that you can do the right thing, you come up short until Ben Kenobi shows up and it's, no.
I get that reference.
No, but I'm saying if.
No, I see what you're saying, but I just, again, I don't think that was supposed to be the full, like that's not the part that Tom Holland Spider-Man then learns that lesson fully and overcomes. He's still struggling with it in that moment. It's not wrong for him to struggle with it in that moment.
But I'm saying he fails. So if we were to say any superhero, you aren't supposed, like how we talked about Man of Steel, we see that Superman has no other options, and he comes up to this decision by himself. There is no, I'm not going to kill him. No, he needs Toby to show up. That
but
means
it's not about him needing Toby to show up. Again, it's about Toby needing to redeem himself from the actions that he took.
Already redeemed himself. Him and Harry.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I disagree with that. I don't think that he did within Spider-Man 3.
Harry
just because they. So that doesn't redeem the actions that him having that conversation with Harry in Spider-Man 3. That doesn't redeem him. Him and Harry are now on good terms. Yeah. That redeems their relationship, but that doesn't necessarily redeem him almost fucking killing Sandman. That doesn't redeem necessarily him beating the crap out of his girl.
There is, because remember at the end of the film, and we see it in this film, Sandman and Peter are actually close. They're friends.
Right.
So we can say that's a redemption. The thing with the New Goblin was, you found out what happened to your dad. We talk about it. That's why that scene is so impactful when they're both on a weird skateboard flying, that we can overcome this. The thing with Norman is, if you were to say, you messed up Harry, his life went through hell, and he gives him the antidote. Toby, you did your job. Tom, you were about to cross that line you could never come back with, but Toby is there to save you. That's what I'm saying.
What's wrong with that?
That means that Tom Holland did not learn that lesson with Aunt May's sacrifice.
He did say, I still want to kill him.
That's what I'm saying. He does not make that decision himself. It's Toby that saves him.
Yeah, but where he comes in and does learn that lesson is at the end when he asks Strange to make everybody forget Peter Parker.
No, that's because the universe is about to implode and other villains are about to show up.
But that's still his redemption. That's still him.
That doesn't make up for you almost wanting to kill somebody.
But doesn't it call back to when Toby, Andrew, and Tom were like, we're all brothers. Yeah. So it was brothers sticking up for each other.
No, because think about it this. Remember, Toby says, no, Tom, let him decide. Tom fell. That's why Toby jumps in there. Because there's the scene. No. He has to decide what to do. Where we see superheroes say,
like you. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. You're saying that Tom Holland Spider-Man should have been strong enough to make the right decision, but he wasn't. Yeah. So therefore, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man had to come in and interject. Yeah, that like what they say with Superman and Batman. No, let Superman decide. And Superman, I'm not going to do it. Because it shows you how strong that character is. He showed how strong he is internally. Tom falls short. That's a plot hole or horrible writing.
Plot hole.
horrible writing where it's no, you don't really do anything.
Well, Tom Holland could be the bad universe Spider-Man because he was about to make even Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was like, I turned fucking pessimistic. Like I stopped pulling my punches and I started beating the living shit out of people.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we would know if he killed someone because that's been a question.
I think it confirms that he has killed somebody.
Do you think he? This is another question that gets into another topic, but there's rumors or talks of him reprising his role, and they're coming out with Amazing Spider-Man 3. No?
Stop it! Yeah, I didn't like him when he came out the first time.
Apparently, a lot of people did, but again,
I was there for that.
No. Our age group did not, and people that were growing up with the original films did not. But now those kids that were at that age of watching it, they're the ones that now want it. And there's, like I said, my nieces and nephews and the younger generation. They like Andrew Garfield.
What do they know?
They're younger. That's who they grow up with. Yeah, and my girl's sister, her favorite Spider-Man is the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Yeah, leave a comment. What do you guys think?
I saw all three Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland.
My point is that there is a large group of individuals that do love.
I understand, like a cult film, like Crow.
Right.
Crow is great. Then you watch this. Oh, that's okay.
And it's similar to. I mean, there's always these types of things that pop up, like the original Star Wars or the prequels of the Star Wars. Our generation, who were younger when it came out, we actually ended up liking it, but everybody hated it when it originally came out. Same thing for Andrew Garfield. A lot of us hated it when that came out, but there's a younger generation that now likes it. So
I think they're being rebels, bro.
I mean, I still don't like it personally, and it's not necessarily Andrew Garfield's fault. I just didn't like the casting within it. I didn't like the direction.
And that's understandable.
Right.
I just thought it was stupid. It was Batman Forever.
Whoa. Chill out there.
All right, so we can agree to disagree on
the finale
Tobey's interaction within that, because I still think that it was proper for Tobey to coming in. I still feel like that's a good character arc for him. It does not bother me personally that Tom Holland was still going to take that action, because I think that Tom Holland's story arc within that was not that. It's the action that he takes with Doctor Strange and saying, I need everybody to not forget Peter Parker. I think that was his character arc and his development.
I mean, I have to say, it's like you had no option though, because the universe is imploding, so it's
not necessarily, because Strange was still trying to rectify it within some type of way. Remember, he just came in and said he couldn't, but he even said, look, then that means everybody's going to forget you, including me.
Yeah, I mean,
right. So he still himself had
as
reservations
hero,
about it.
If you have no choice, are you really doing a heroic thing? Because it's like all the villains are coming.
I mean, not necessarily. He still could have been like, all right, let the villains come through and we'll just handle it. Like, that's what he gets. Is still that's still an option, bro. It's not a good option.
So all of them.
It's not a good option.
Okay, because I know you love Dragon Ball Z. Hey, there's a chance that Cell won't destroy the whole planet. I don't have to sacrifice myself. So do you think Goku? Hey, I'm out, Gohan. That's what I'm saying. That's what you're saying. That hey, we can handle it. Hey, Cell might.
It's still an option. I'm not saying that it's the right option, but it's still an option, right? Okay. So
no, I want you to clarify this, because I saw it twice and I still don't fucking remember. Does he say, I want everyone to forget I'm Spider-Man? Or does he want...
He says everybody forget Peter Parker.
Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Because remember, they still...
He says everybody forget Peter Parker. Okay. Not Peter Parker as Spider-Man, but everybody forget Peter Parker. Because that's the reason why... that's what keeps the multiverse from then collapsing, is because if everybody forgets... across the multiverse, which raises a question. This isn't a plot hole, but a question. This spell goes across the unknown, the known and the unknown, right? So it's multiversal. So then when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield go back, did everybody in their universes forget that
I wondered the same thing.
Like that's an unanswered question. I wouldn't say that's a plot hole, but that's an unanswered question. That's not a plot hole, because the plot still went forward. We don't know what happened at that point. They go back to their view. They go back to their.
Love this, because now we can have what happens in Spider-Man 4 and Spider-Man 3.
Greedo shot first.
Anyways, it's saying that everybody needs to forget Peter Parker, and that's actually what rectifies my one issue with Tom Holland Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but I hate what the MCU has done with Tom Holland Spider-Man, because they made him basically like Iron Lad. what I love about Spider-Man, and it's part of what we had the conversation of within our ethics and egos conversation a while back, which that video should be back up in the next few days because that was a great conversation. Y'all should go check out that video. Spider-Man is looked at as the most ethical hero within the Marvel universe. He even teaches ethics at Jean Grey's School for the Gifted Kids, right?
Is it Captain America or is it Spider-Man?
Who's the most ethical?
Yeah.
I guess that could be arguable, but Captain America himself
Captain
even
America
loves...
and Civil War kind of...
But he even loves Peter Parker. He even goes over to J. Jonah Jameson and is like, don't talk shit about Spider-Man.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? You know how there's a weird... Who would you fall into war? It's always Captain America.
To my point, though, Spider-Man being looked at as, okay, we're not going to say the most ethical, one of the two at the very least.
Reed Richards.
Not ethical. Losing my fucking train of thought, you getting me off. That's what I love about Spider-Man is he learned his lesson from Uncle Ben of with great power comes great responsibility, and then that amplifies him to go through everything on his own. Very similar to Batman, he does not agree with all other heroes. Batman is like a part-timer of the Justice League. Spider-Man can be looked at the same way. He does not always operate with the Avengers. He does not always agree with other heroes. He has his own thoughts and his own ideals and ideology, and that comes from the experiences that he developed on his own as a kid, becoming a hero and finding out what it means to be a hero. You did not get that with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. You got him underneath the wing of Iron Man, and he was just looking up to the Avengers, and he was given all of these things. So that was my issue with it. And by him going forward and saying, everybody forgets Peter Parker, he is now on his own. And this now puts him in the position to be able to become his own Spider-Man and to become his own hero and become his own individual person and have his own ideologies.
We know that's not necessarily true because, one, he still remembers Iron Man. So he still has that experience.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily fix my issues that I had before. It just puts him in a direction that I'm for.
And we know that he remembers the other Peters because he learns their lesson. Because if you look at the suit, it's a combination of their suits with the new one.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like
it's the Alex Ross suit.
When it comes to that, my issue, I don't mind Iron Spider Lad. I think that was a nice twist because, like we said, we don't want it to be too much like the comics.
No, because to me that just takes away core values of who Spider-Man is. Again, that doesn't this whole arc within this. It doesn't justify, doesn't rectify those issues that I have with it. It just puts him in a better direction for me.
Well, because I was gonna say, like, I feel like when Tony dies, we get to see Spider-Man. He deals with grief. We get to see him. I still have to be the hero, like Spider-Man 2, where he throws the suit away. Right. He knows what's important. Now, I will say, I think Spider-Man No Way Home tried too much of the sentimental stuff. We had like 3 moments of you're supposed to feel sad. Aunt May dies. Mm-hmm. You kind of like, okay, that's moved on.
I didn't really feel sad in any of those moments. I think that it was just, these are the issues. Give me your points. Sorry.
No. I was just saying that, Aunt May died. She's been in there for 2 films.
Right.
It's the question of, I was wrong. No, you were right.
Right.
That it shapes we know she's going to die because she gives a great power, but we see him doubt himself.
Right.
Then we get the Norman things, like you said, you thought Toby was going to die. And Toby, how are you still alive? Like those.
See, I'm the only person in that theater when I saw it the first time. All right, so there was 2 things that I wanted out of this film, and one of them was. See, now I'm so losing like my train of thought and stuff. Main thing was. I wanted Tobey Maguire to die because I thought that would have been the perfect end to his story.
You jerk.
No, I wanted him to die because if he would have died, for me, this makes too much sense. But if he would have died, then that could have set up his universe as being the ultimate universe, and Miles Morales could have come from that universe. I know, but that makes so much sense. That makes
Ben O'Reilly
sense.
At least you didn't say him.
No, but Miles Morales could have come from his universe, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Tobey Maguire sacrificing himself would have been like the ultimate redemption arc for him, and then some of the bad things that he's done. Getting in the way, and he still took the blow and stuff, like that was cool. But if he would have died, it would have been like the ultimate sacrifice. I felt like that would have been perfect. When he got stabbed, I swear I was the only one in the theater that went, yeah, because I thought he was about to die. I was like, they're doing what I thought they were gonna do. Like, this is awesome. And then he lived, and I was like, oh, my bad.
What was the second one?
There was 2 things I wanted. Now my mind's going blank on what the first one was. Because we went down so many different roads.
Well, I have a question because I saw the movie. Is this Tom Holland Spider-Man, is that the Spider-Man that's fucked up the most?
What do you mean fucked up?
Because in the movies,
well, we
whenever
don't
J. Jonah Jameson's talking, he's like, every time that Spider-Man gets close to someone dies. And we see that when he fucked up with Mysterio, he gave him the wrong shit. We saw that in No Way Home whenever he fucked up with Vulture.
I would have to say
this one, whenever Aunt May died, but she's like, no, you're good.
I would still say it's a tie with him and Toby. Because think about all the things that Toby had to go through. Uncle Ben dies.
And off-screen, arguably, Andrew, if he killed somebody, we don't know.
Yeah, that's a big question mark.
Right.
But I guess, like you said, with the time warps, the warp spell, would they remember that he's killed people?
No, I think that they would. So the thing with the whole spell is people don't forget the circumstances and the issues of what have happened. They just forget who Peter Parker is. So this is why what I thought was a plot hole originally, until I thought about it a little bit more, was how did Ned and I keep wanting to call her MJ, his version of MJ.
Yeah, MJ.
How did they still get into MIT if everybody forgot Peter Parker? It's that conversation that he had with the woman from MIT. She still remembers the conversation. She just doesn't remember it was with Peter Parker. So she still went back and talked to the board about those two. She just doesn't remember, I was supposed to talk about Peter Parker.
Well, also, MJ and Ned are smart, so they could have easily gotten in on their own.
Well, no, they were qualified to get in.
Question,
they just weren't able to get in because of their ties to Peter Parker.
But now that that's gone, they could
exactly.
get in.
So she exactly.
Well, my issue was all the times that Peter had conversations with them, like Ned meeting MJ, wasn't that because of Peter?
Right, but it's similar to, like, okay, let me put it in like in this terms. If everybody,
I see what you're saying.
But we had this conversation.
We did, but then
if
you told me the whole spell.
If you and I, or if the three of us went to go get ice cream, and I asked for this spell to be done, forget who Russell Reinhardt is, y'all would still have the memory of going to get ice cream. I just wouldn't be there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, how would they have a memory of how would they meet up with Ned and MJ?
They just have the memory of somebody was there and they got introduced and they don't remember who
it was.
I was
just
that's
saying
not a plot hole, though.
I was just saying, like, because I watched them that said that, but it's like, yeah, that is kind of a strange thing. Like, we just mutually had a friend that we just...
All of his documents...
Well, no, I think they found each other without Peter. They went to the same school.
It would just be... Right, it would just be like circumstance of,
Well, because I thought it was time travel, but it's not. It's like, okay, Ned's best friend was Peter, right? That certain things Ned does because of Peter. So how do we know which ones do we separate without
That's what
Peter's
I said. That's exactly what I said.
But someone said, no, the spell just like, you become hazy, but you still go through the same things that you did. You just
don't remember. You just don't remember the detail of Peter Parker being there, but somebody was there. Something happened.
But he brought up a point that no, the book still exists. So how?
What book?
The
Ned's book. Flash's book.
Does it just erase the parts with Peter, or you? Who is this guy? Like,
probably.
Well, because Spider-Man exists in that universe.
Yeah.
They just forget who Spider-Man is.
Right. So that's what a YouTube video. You just
they forget
hazy,
Peter Parker. Period.
But that wouldn't change.
Which means they forget who Spider-Man.
Yeah, it wouldn't change physical things or like.
Like videos. He still has documents. Like he still has his birth certificate and stuff like that. It's just the doctor who delivered him doesn't remember delivering him. Like. But like the day still happened, events still happened. People just don't remember the detail of it.
Hey, can we have a reference of Peter Parker? I don't know who that guy is.
Right.
Well, that's why he wouldn't go to his GED because he didn't really go to that school.
Magic.
So magic could solve everything. But man, these rabbit holes.
Right.
How did we get to this?
Well, I just want to say what I did like about the film is that Green Goblin came out as a fucking badass.
Yeah, that was
like, I mean, Green Goblin was like a freaking badass because, I mean, they made him almost Joker status in the sense of like, you fucking try to fix me, now I'm going to show you. And he kills Aunt May, and he does all the, like, damn, like, Green Goblin came out as a badass.
I loved that. That was probably one of my favorite part of the movie, and that's...
Like
this is another reason why I enjoyed the movie, is because what sold it to me wasn't Tobey Maguire being in it, wasn't Andrew Garfield being in it, wasn't the nostalgia, but I mean, I guess you could say Green Goblin was nostalgia, but that fight and the dynamic between Green Goblin and Tom Holland Spider-Man, that fight specifically was like my favorite part of the whole film. When you say
the dynamic, isn't that always been that Green Goblins where he's trying to break into your head?
Psyche, right.
So that's what I'm saying.
But
But we didn't get that from Tobey Maguire.
We did. When he was Peter, because my friend always debates, was he sane or was he playing on Peter's emotions at the end.
I feel like in Tom Holland, he was playing on people's emotions. Like, I have two minds, but
remember
really...
that's what he did with when he was losing to Toby. Peter, you're like a son to me.
Oh yeah, he was always bad.
So we don't know that.
Yeah, he was like Godspeed, Spider-Man. Like,
remember he does that weird voice thing. So it's like, does he harness it, or because that's always been an issue, even in the comics.
I feel like that's Green Goblin playing off of Peter's emotional side.
That's the one. That's what I'm saying. That's the one good thing about William Dafoe's Goblin, that we're always questioning which one we're getting. Is it?
I feel like he's been bad and he just plays off of people's shit.
Well, that's why. Because remember the ending. Tell Harry. Is it? Well, did you really
don't tell Harry,
or did you?
Don't tell Harry.
Well, like what's going on? Are we getting the good one? Because it's so. That's what I'm saying.
I think in his dying moment, he was reverting back to the good one. That's why he was saying, "Don't."
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. It's just that his portrayal of Goblin is very good.
Yeah.
But I could argue that even in Spider-Man 1, we do see.
But in No Way Home, he was playing those motherfuckers all along.
Well,
because even when Peter was like, whenever he got his spider sense, he's like, something's about to go down, and then he goes for Green Goblin. That's because Green Goblin was playing those motherfuckers all along.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's always been that smart.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Don't give the internet made that funny. But that's what I'm saying. I do like that. I just feel like it was at the cost of other characters where you're just like, man, Lizard, why were you here?
So that was also part of like the negotiation.
Like I told him
for the film. What's his name? Who plays Goblin? William Dafoe said that he wanted to play his own stunts and he wanted Green Goblin to be more of a focus within the movie. He wasn't going to do the role without that. Mm-hmm. So don't really blame the film for that. Blame the executives for that. But again,
the writers, because they could have done so much. Because like one theory is, and I know Strange kind of explains it. There are so many characters that know who you are. Like, why wasn't Harry?
That's what I said. Yeah,
he could have at least made a cameo.
MJ could have came through this.
MJ. I mean, I understand why MJ, because she said she was too old for the role. You have because spoilers. To me, you just put Tom Hardy in there just to we got you.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
You could have just put the original Venom in there, and it's the Sinister Six. We got what we wanted.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I know
none of these are like issues to me though. Like it was still...
No, because it's like, why were these select few characters brought, but there were more interesting characters?
Why didn't Iron Man come through? Iron Man knew that was Spider-Man.
Now again, Strange explains it.
Really, these villains were brought because those were the top villains within the other franchises.
They were pulling off nostalgia. That's what
Sandman.
I mean, people liked Sandman's story. They didn't necessarily like Spider-Man 3.
Nostalgia.
I mean, because he had a conclusion like, oh, you forgive me. Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I can understand why the directors pick certain people, or maybe I'm doing a film or something like that, but it's like,
because of nostalgia.
You could have had Harry and Norman have a moment.
I'm just still not having an issue with this. Like, I don't...
No. It's not that you should. It's just like, if you're thinking about it, we could have had a Norman and Harry situation. Like, I can forgive you, or I understand where you're coming from. Now, if Spider-Man 4 does happen, he could... Because that's another issue. When do the villains go back to their own timeline?
What do you mean? At the very end?
No. Okay. We know that Norman is cured, right? And they say you'll go back before you die. Mm-hmm. So does that mean
there's a new branch reality, basically?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right. Are they saying that it's Earth 616 where he does die? Then there's Earth 616.1 where if Norman goes back and he's cured, that means nothing in Spider-Man 1 happens.
Not necessarily. He goes, what point? I mean, we don't know what point he goes back to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because he said, remember, he says...
it's not an issue.
No, it will become an issue. Because if Norman does not die in Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3 does not happen. Because Harry never goes crazy.
But again, it just could... From what I take out of it, it just creates, as you say, like 616.1.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In that one,
but Toby goes back to his point in reality where Norman still died. So there's a reality where Norman survives and a reality where he dies.
Remember, Doctor Strange says they will go back to die. He says that. But
he's saying
like, you did it. You did.
Yeah, he's saying that they go back to die in the state that they're in. But like now that they're cured, going back into those situations, then they might not die.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That means they're going back to that time point, right?
Okay.
That means he won't kill Green Goblin.
Okay.
That means Spider-Man 2 and 3
in a branch universe that Spider-Man 2 and 3 do not.
So that means what you're saying is there was no point of this film because the action still happened. But Doctor Strange says no. Tom says no.
But it doesn't change. It doesn't change the experiences that our Toby went through because our Toby had already gone through those characters dying.
The timeline for those other characters. Harry won't work with Dr. Octopus.
But again, that's just going to be a branch
another
reality.
Different timeline, yeah.
But how do we know it's another reality where he's saying you're going home?
Because of Loki.
No, he says you're going home. Doctor Strange says that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say it's a branch. No, you're going to your own timeline.
Right, but then the moment that something changes within that reality, the moment that he doesn't die, that's when the branch reality starts.
But, so let me ask you, when Toby goes back to his universe, right? Mm-hmm. What universe is it?
It's going to be his universe where he came from. Now that
he's going to go back to the universe where they died. The others go back to right before they died, and if they don't die, then that's just when other branch realities come off. Again, this is not an issue.
No, but
so
I'm saying,
they go off, and in their realities where
I'm saying, does Doctor Strange says that, or does Doctor Strange says you're going back to the moment before you die? Because remember, Tom says no, I don't.
So then either they go back and they're cured and they still die because it's in that moment before they die,
Tom
or
says
they survive.
They won't die.
Cool. So then they don't die and a new reality is branched off.
But I'm saying, if we don't establish that there is a new reality happening, right? That means
Loki establishes that this is creating branch realities.
Okay.
Well, King the Conqueror.
If we're saying
I'm saying Loki the show, though, that establishes that all these realities are branching off. If something changes, this is what they have established within it. If something changes, it creates a whole new timeline. That's what the Ancient One says to Hulk, right? Within Endgame, you remove something that happens, it just creates a new branch reality. That reality where that shit's still there is still there. They're just now parallel realities.
So why does Doctor Strange say you're going to the moment that you die? Because that means in that universe 616, you're going right back there.
Well, can I say that? Can I say this?
But I'm saying if they're not, because remember Tom says no, they're not going to die. So that's what I'm saying. Spider-Man 2 and 3 wouldn't happen.
We're talking in circles right now. Okay, again, if they don't die, then a new branch reality comes off. That other reality is still there where they died, and now there's a reality where they do die, where they don't die. There's two realities.
Where does Peter go? Is he going 616 or 6161?
To Toby.
Toby will go back to his reality where they did die. The others will go back and create new realities where they don't die. There's multiple realities. Mm-hmm. Who cares?
No, you will care because in one universe, what premise of Spider-Man 2? Why does Harry become a villain?
Again, I understand what you're saying, but so what?
No, you changed Peter's whole dynamic. Because
in those realities, but there's still going to be a reality where those dynamics did not change.
Where does that Peter go? Because
he goes back to his own. They're all at different points of that timeline. Mm. So you go back to Spider-Man 1. There's now a branch reality from there. You go back to Spider-Man 2. There's now a branch reality from there. But then Toby goes back to his reality where they are both still dead. There's 3 different realities now at that point.
Okay.
There's 616, 616.1, and 616.2. Mm-hmm. 3 different realities. Doesn't change anything for the Tobey Maguire that goes back to his own version of the 616, the original.
It changes the stuff for Tom, the Andrew Garfield, right?
What do you mean?
Well, because I'm saying...
Well, I don't know about that because even in the Andrew Garfield movie, Lizard is cured. So I don't know about that. So he gets cured again?
So that's what I'm saying. And when you introduce multiverse theory, you can say there's a lot of things that make sense based off of what we're saying. But in the film, Doctor Strange says, no, they're going back to their universe to die. Tom says, no, we can stop that.
Right.
Which means he could have been pressed the button.
But Doctor Strange was like, you did it, kid.
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Nothing matters. So if we're saying they're going right back to...
No, it still matters. I don't know.
But why? If in one universe they die, that meant that it doesn't matter.
I see what you're saying now. Okay. I see what you're saying.
So if they still die in that reality, cool. But he still saved the individuals that are there. Yes. They're just now in a new reality. Right. That's fine.
Does it matter though? Because they still die. Tom Holland is...
It matters to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It matters to the situation that's happening there because for them, they saved these individuals. They are now going off and they can live within these alternate timelines.
But that's what I'm saying. That they still die. So why even go through the...
What is it called?
Whenever... You can't change what has happened within that the 616. We're calling it the 616 reality. But he still saved them within 616.1 and 616.2. Like, he still saved them for those realities. Yes, they're still dead in the other reality, in the main reality for the one that Toby's going back to. But, like, it still works. Like, I'm not getting the issue that you're getting. Like,
the issue is,
I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
You're saying that if Toby's going back and they're still dead within that reality, what's the point?
Well,
the point is, the alternate realities, they live.
And what I'm saying is, until we see Spider-Man 4, we don't know what's going on. Because we just say...
We do know what's going on due to Loki and Endgame.
Okay. If what you're saying is true, and I'm not refuting that, yeah. Doctor Strange says, no, they're going right back. That has to happen.
And as he even says, he says at the very end, you did it, kid, you saved them.
Yes.
So it's creating the branch realities.
But does Doctor Strange say that? That's what I'm saying, because he has this grand vision of everything that happens.
Multiverse of madness.
And that's what I'm saying, because you can say, no, they go back, and then, because they go back, and none of this happens. But Toby will still have the memory, right? But we can say, well,
we don't know that.
No. I'm saying that Toby goes back to a reality where they still die.
But that's what I'm saying. How do we know? Because this Toby could go back to the universe.
I mean, you're right. We don't know. But then this still becomes, in my opinion, a moot point. They still save them within the situation that they're in. But they go back. So
if they go to 6161, because we don't know exactly which universe Toby goes to, right?
We assume that they go back to from where they were pulled. Toby was pulled from his timeline in the future where they had already died. The others were pulled right before they died, right? Those are different times within that reality.
But Lizard doesn't die. So we know there's some weird thing with their timelines. That's what I'm asking you. So was that 6162 Lizard who does die, or is it 617?
Well, Lizard never died.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So I'm saying he goes back to that universe because he never died.
So remember, one of the premises were that the villains did die, but I think they changed it up in a commercial where, in one commercial they say it, but in the film I don't think they say that they're dead. But people do assume that based off three people do die, that they had to die as well.
Bottom line, a lot of what we're talking about right now are not going to be answered until probably Multiverse of Madness or never, because whatever, it doesn't really matter.
What it does though, because
it doesn't.
Okay, let's take 616.
We're not agreeing on this. Like, we're just not agreeing on this.
Okay, let's use Dragon Ball Z logic. Trunks goes to the past. He creates
new timeline. You're saying Trunks still goes back to his timeline where, okay.
And that's what I'm saying. If what you call it, if those events don't happen, and that is the canon universe for Toby, there's a lot of things that unravel where Harry does not work with Octopus. That means he's not a villain.
But again, you're saying as if they go back, and then you're saying as if the universe that Toby goes to is then affected by those, but they don't. They are not affected by it. But they're branch realities.
But Strange does not say that, though. That's what I'm saying.
But Loki and Endgame do. And but those are within the realities.
Strange does not. That's what I'm saying. There's a disconnect with.
But no, Strange isn't the one that needs to say that. It's already been said by the ancient one that that's what happens, is that a new branch reality comes off.
Okay, so
it is stated.
So let me ask you: when he creates that sorcery spell that helps, I forgot when they forget. Does that create a separate branch where they don't forget? When he says
according to what the ancient one says, every decision that could, or was it the ancient one that said that any decision that could be made had been made, and that's the multiverse.
So let me ask you,
yes.
Hey, Tom. You know, even if you do this, there is a universe where they die, right?
But they're not worried about the other universe. They're worried about the situation that's in front of them right then and there.
That's what I'm saying. It does not matter if you say for every yes or no.
With the multiverse and them being all these different possibilities, you're right. All of these different possibilities exist. Anytime that a new decision happens, it just creates a new reality, and those other decisions have still been concrete within their own reality. So what?
Then you don't need the film then. Because there's a split.
No, because what it's doing. Okay.
Character progress.
Exactly. This is decisions that affect Tom Holland and his consciousness within his reality and for himself, and it's an individual thing. You're right. Doesn't matter because in the other universe and the universe that Toby goes back to, 616, the first 616, not 0.1, not 0.2, they're still dead. But the decision that Tom Holland makes, that's what matters, is for his character development, for the situation that they face at hand right then and there within that universe for them. That's what matters.
And that's what I'm saying. Strange says they have to die. Why say they have to die unless it is still connected to their time?
He's saying that they have to die because he wants to rectify the situation right then and there, opposed to waiting. No, because
remember Tom says they will be sent back to where they died.
Right.
Strange says, yeah, it has to happen. So that means there is some part of the timeline that says no, they have to, because like we learned from Rick and Morty and time things that have time travel.
Rick and Morty doesn't.
Well, no, I'm saying like they say there are some things, and DC even says it. There are some core values that do not change. That certain events have to happen in multiple dimensions.
There are nexus points.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is that a nexus point where those villains have to die? Because like that's what I'm saying. If they don't die, do you create?
Regardless, we don't know what happens when they go back.
And that's what I'm asking, and that's what a lot of fans are arguing.
Okay.
Will that change what happens when Toby goes through the portal? Will Harry still be alive?
I would say that they just create other realities, branch realities.
So let me ask you,
whatever.
A fan theory. Spider-Man 4. Do we get Harry as alive, or do we get no Harry's still dead? I
think they're dead. Everything that has happened after the third one, it stays.
He's not going.
It remains the same.
Right. He's not going back to.
No. I'm not saying he's going back in time. I'm not saying that.
No. I'm not saying that either. But he's not going back to his universe, and the now them surviving changes his universe. No, it just
this isn't Back to the Future.
This goes back. This just creates new branch realities. Right. It's not Back to the Future. It's there are now realities where they've died, and there's realities where they have survived. Yes, there's now a Tobey Maguire reality where all of those situations unfold, or where if they survive, then XYZ doesn't happen, and now Tobey Maguire's life has changed. But Tobey Maguire is not going back to that reality. Tobey Maguire is going back to where he was pulled from, where they have already died.
Okay.
So his reality is still there. It's just the other realities are now, like I said, branch realities.
So when Spider-Man 4 happens,
it's not gonna happen,
and we see James Franco, and I'll say, "Hey, Russell, remember this episode right here?"
It's not gonna happen.
So, which universe is Peter Parker in? 6161 or 6162?
Multiverse of Madness.
In Spider-Man 4, if it happens,
why would Harry be back though?
Because that's what
I see what he's saying.
With the events that happen.
I get you, but that's not the universe that Toby goes back to.
That's what I'm saying. Until Spider-Man 4 shows up,
it's not gonna happen.
Which universe are we sure we're getting? Because that's what I'm saying. If we see Harry, would you say, oh, the events do impact where Toby go to? Because that's what I'm saying.
No, they don't. They just
that's what I'm saying.
They just impact for those individuals and the timelines that they go to.
When we see Spider-Man 4, if it happens, or Amazing Spider-Man 3,
right?
If we see characters that reappear, it's oh no, the timeline is.
But you're making an assumption right now, and based off the information that we have from the films, we have established that they will be branch realities, and the realities that they are going back to are their own, where the events have already happened. That's based off of what the MCU has concrete already said and done. Based off of Loki, based off of Endgame. Period.
Okay. I'm saying, when you introduce multiverse theories, anything you don't agree with.
Well, hold on, because even Doctor Strange has famously said the multiverse is something we know very little about.
Yeah.
So even to your argument, when you said Doctor Strange says they're gonna die, he doesn't even know.
Right.
Like, he has no idea.
Again, Strange is coming
I feel like Loki knows more about the multiverse than Strange does.
I think that Strange is only worried about what's happening within his universe, and he just wants to get
of how powerful the spell is. Because he said, remember, he says it's going to crack the universe, that he's aware of how powerful his spell is.
He's not even the Sorcerer Supreme.
No, they know that. That's funny. No, they just know that these decisions go across the known and unknown. They go across the multiverse.
We know that it depends on who it is, because people say that it's Kraven, and some people say that it's not Kraven.
What are you talking about?
Remember the dude that puts his trident in his spear? Yeah. That there is
or Namor,
a Kraven film.
There is, or
supposedly. So that means that these impacts still are in a canon universe to where they do know, or they
it's
will
just again, it's just multiverse. There's just now multiple universes. They just created even more universes because of the decisions that they made.
Mm-hmm.
But
what I'm saying, when you see Kraven in them, it's no. Even if we don't change stuff. Kraven still appears.
Again, to just get back to where I guess we originally were. These are not issues for me. They did not break the film for me. They to me, it still works. They go into alternate universes. More universes are created. I feel like whatever happens at, I don't want to say end of phase 4 or wherever we're at, Multiverse of Madness, whatever's going on with.
And I bet you that retcons everything again.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's my huge,
whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when it comes to multiverse, and we've all established, or more so me, when you introduce a multiverse, you can always say, "This film blew, not canon. This was amazing. We'll keep it."
I mean, let's comics do this shit all the time, though.
Yeah, and I'm saying, but remember there
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint. Remember they just
New 52.
No, a Flashpoint makes 3 timelines.
Flashpoint, it ends pre-52.
And it makes 52.
Yeah, it creates it.
That's
but
the prime one.
They always destroy the previous ones because even in Black Metal, they were destroying universe. Like, no, this is no longer
Death Metal.
The 52 anymore. That is gone. But I'm saying, like, there's a moment where they do it with Age of Ultron, where fans are saying, why do we keep doing time travel and multi-dimensional stuff? Because you kind of mess up where we go with the flow of the comics, because
it's a way to reboot.
Yeah, and that was the issue, and that's what I'm saying. When you have reboots or you introduce a multi-dimension, things that you don't think is canon, they're gone because the sales might have been low, or you had an interesting idea that blew, like One More Day, where remember they just retconned that and said, "Oh no, that's not what happened," or "No, it's not One More Day."
But didn't the 3 Jokers just prove all that? Because now the 3 Jokers exist.
That's not. That's in its own universe.
That's a dark or black label.
It's not canon.
That's a black label. Yeah.
And remember, Black Label has its own universe.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, so anything with the Black Label is supposed to be the mature stuff,
Right.
but it's not.
But getting back at Spider-Man No Way Home, and wrapping it up here because we went way off on the tangent.
Sorry about that.
We went so off that we saw fucking Jaws. Anyway, so Spider-Man No Way Home, how do we feel about it? Do we, at the end of the day, you said it didn't really fucking matter. You say those things are not really. I agree with him because I think we're exploring something that we don't know yet. Also, we're not in the writers' room. Right. We don't know what's going to happen in
I think
Multiverse of Madness.
The decisions were made were to impact the characters in the moment for them specifically. What happens to Tobey Maguire and his universe, all these other now multiverses, and where they're going with that? That's a non-factor to this film as of right now, and
so why
it also doesn't. I'm not the one that brought that up.
No, I'm saying why even have them in the films? Because you say closure, but the characters already had closure.
Money.
Okay, so Andrew Garfield did not, and I still feel like there was more that could have been done with Tobey's, and I like what they did with that.
Let me ask you: does Andrew Garfield still become Spider-Man at the end after he fails to save Gwen?
Yeah, we established that.
So that's closure. He still decides to.
But he needed to save the girl.
But why though?
Well, hold on. I feel like we need a. You say Spider-Man 4. I feel like we need a Spider-Man.
Because that was an emotional thing for him. That was his biggest mistake.
Okay, we see emotional things where people die all the time, right? Batman.
But that was personal for him.
Batman can't save some of his love interests. Mm-hmm. He still puts on the mask.
Right. But this still was like a redeeming factor for him. It was, I didn't save her before, and now I did.
Let me ask you, what you're saying is him fighting Rhino was not a closure. That he decided even in his darkest moment.
Because he started with he didn't hold back his punches and stuff.
Yeah, that was.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't know if he killed someone, but we know he still
implemented.
Spider-Man.
He became a darker Spider-Man though, and him saving the girl, and that regardless, him saving this MJ was him redeeming himself and was a win for him for having lost Gwen. It was him.
That's why I started crying.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2...
You are heartless right now.
No, because I'm saying, when you go for the emotional appeal, we're saying that him deciding to fight Rhino, continue being Spider-Man. That is not saying you as a hero said, I'm going to continue. Spider-Man 2...
But that's not...
he said it in the movie. He said, I tried to suppress it, but I just became bitter.
But I'm saying, there was already an ending at Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Right, but that's not a redeeming thing. Yes, he decided to still be a hero, but that's not him feeling like he then redeemed the fact of losing Gwen.
He even said in the movie, I tried to suppress it, but I just couldn't.
What I'm saying, we look at Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Uh-huh.
We look at any other film. Batman and Robin, they forgive each other. That's their redemption. Batman Forever. Batman and Robin.
Okay.
They had issues. They moved past it. They run to the camera.
Right.
That's their redemption.
Well, Batgirl too.
Yeah. Batgirl, my bad. That's your redemption. Amazing Spider-Man 2, he still is a hero. That's the redemption right there. He's still going on, and we see it all the time with Spider-Man. I don't want to be Spider-Man.
But that doesn't negate the fact that he still wants to redeem himself for losing the girl.
In No Way Home, he says, He tried to suppress that by saying like,
He didn't become the best hero he possibly could. Yeah,
but
he still was a hero.
We're using Spider-Man No Way Home to say he gets a conclusion. But if we watch,
he doesn't get a conclusion.
It's just one.
MJ.
It's just one. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's just one thing.
That's just one redeeming.
What I'm saying
factor.
in Spider-Man 2, we can say other heroes save the girl, they fall short. Dark Knight. He failed to save Rachel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does he still continue being Batman?
No, he doesn't. Because remember, after
it's when he kills Harvey.
No. Whenever he fails to save Rachel, I mean, he does the thing with the Joker.
Yeah.
But then it was like 9 years between Dark Knight and the Rises. It was 9 years.
He's still Batman. He stops being Batman because of what happens to Harvey Dent.
Right.
But we still see he loses his loved one.
Mm-hmm.
He still is Batman because he's showing that at the end of the day, I know what I have to do to be a hero.
And after that, he stops being Batman
because of the implications of Two-Face. Because remember, they say if he shows up, it kind of messes up the whole Two-Face thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, okay, yeah, we need to know what happens
right.
because he's Batman. But when he saves Rachel, we see that he's still a hero because he's, no matter how bad I feel, I'm still Batman. Spider-Man 2 establishes that as well. I don't feel like it, but I still know what a hero is. Tom Holland.
But he didn't go through with it because he's like, I stopped pulling my punches.
But that's what I'm saying. We're using the film, the new film, to say he gets a conclusion. But if we look at it,
no one's saying that.
Okay, you keep saying MJ, right?
But that's like one little thing.
He saves MJ, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. At the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, do you feel like he's a hero?
Yes, because he saves the kid.
That's my point.
Okay,
he's a hero. That's his.
But now we know new information.
That's what I'm saying.
But we're using also, but that just because he goes back and still becomes a hero, that's not the factor. That's not the issue at play. He still lost Gwen. He still feels like he has that failure. So he still becomes a hero. Right. But that's not the issue.
No, I'm saying you're putting more emphasis on Mary Jane, him saving Mary Jane in the new film. MJ. If you're saying at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 he was a hero, right?
Yeah.
Is it what happens in No Way Home that he gets the redemption, or no, he already had the redemption
because he got to save the girl that he didn't get to save before.
Because of the new film.
Specifically, okay.
But that's what I'm saying.
But he himself went on to say, I'm still bitter.
Because of something that just was recently introduced in the new film.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. At the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, do you say, he is the hero, he is Spider-Man, because he continues his journey?
Okay, but that doesn't mean that he still doesn't live with the guilt
I'm asking
of the failure.
Because now we say the film introduces this. But in Amazing Spider-Man 2, when you finish the movie...
Even then, similarly to...
Do you feel he's Spider-Man at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I can justify this. Terminator 2, they destroy T-1000. They destroy the chip in the arm. Terminator 3 happens. They didn't do shit.
Here's my point. You think that this film now is pointless because you feel like there was already conclusions within Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Fine. That still doesn't mean that there couldn't be more character development. It doesn't still mean that there
are introducing new things to have a character with story developments. What I'm saying is,
it's not new.
In any film, we see a hero put on the mask after their darkest moments.
Why would you not? If you lost your girlfriend because of something that you directly were involved with, you still decide to be a good person after you lost your girlfriend or whatever. Would you still not feel sorrow and guilt about losing your girlfriend?
At the end of the film, I realized what was important.
I'm not talking about the film. I'm saying personally.
I realized because I had to be a hero, right?
Yeah.
I realized that at the end of the day, she would want me to continue being who I am. Death is a part of life.
But you're still feeling bad that you lost the girl.
That's why no one likes No Way Home, because Peter does something.
Oh, no.
In this degree, we have him do something that's...
I'm not saying nobody likes it, though. I like it.
I mean, not No Way Home. One more wish. My bad. Okay. He does something uncharacteristic. At the end of the day, why we love Spider-Man is you move on. You don't get dwelled by the past. That's why I keep asking you, at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2,
no one's perfect.
Do you feel that he becomes Spider-Man?
Yes, but that doesn't negate how I still feel that it's still a win for him to save the girl.
You want him to have a redemption arc.
Not even just that. It's a feel good moment. Like me putting myself in those shoes. If I lost my girl because of the decision I made, and if I'm still being a good person, it would still feel good to me to save the damsel for myself in another universe.
You want him to have a happy ending. That's what you're saying, right? But what I'm saying, at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, as a Spider-Man fan, you walk away. That's the Spider-Man I know. He's able to keep trucking forward. Yes or no?
I feel like I feel like Amazing Spider-Man is the darkest Spider-Man because it is implemented that he kills somebody.
You want to have a happy ending for
out of anger. He kills someone out of anger.
Or a redemption. But what I'm saying is he already has it because at the end of the day, where we see from multiple superheroes,
right?
But that still doesn't negate what I'm saying.
You want a redemption, right? You wanted him.
It's a redemption for that one specific thing.
He already had it though.
Not really, no.
Because he's able to say at the end of the day,
just because he still decided to become Spider-Man. I agree with that he's still becoming a hero at the very end, but that still doesn't give him that redeeming.
Why does he have to have a redemption arc?
Well, no. He even says it in the end. He's like, I tried to trudge on, but I just couldn't. I couldn't shake.
But he's still Spider-Man.
Was he though?
Yeah, because he's in the he's still a Spider-Man. That's what I'm saying. When we talk about
he was.
When we talk about endings, we could say, Toby, you have an ending. You lose everything, but you still track forward. Andrew, you lose everything.
So I'll get to the point of I understand where you're coming from. I just personally disagree that doesn't negate that these instances within this film were not good. That they were still able to get more redemption.
We talk about toxic fan bases, and I'm not calling you toxic, but if you're saying you wanted him to have a redemption arc where he already surpassed that and
specifically for saving the girl,
why does he need to save the girl? We don't,
because he's haunted by that.
We don't do this for any other character. Batman, hey Jason, you're dead. What was the whole arc? You had to trudge along to be a superhero. That's what it means. You can't get everything in the end. You move forward.
The Tin Man has
why is it so bad to give him that?
Because he already had an ending, but fans want something else.
I disagree.
How many superheroes do not? We said
because we can even still sit here and argue that what's the point of Tom Holland having his lesson that you have to be responsible for your own mistakes and your own actions. It's the same lesson that we've gotten in each of the other Spider-Man films. Same lesson that we've gotten within the Batman.
That's what
exactly.
Tom
so it's
Holland,
fine.
He's saying, "Hey, I can't be happy." Right? He does the good thing. Hey, you guys can be happy.
Right.
When we say everyone, Andrew Garfield especially, you have to save the girl, but it's Andrew. You're a hero. It comes with the territory. That's why we love Spider-Man. He loses stuff. He moves forward. That's why we love Batman. You move forward. You don't need a redemption.
Batman's overrated.
All I can say, man, is I understand where you're coming from. I disagree. That's at this point. That's because we're talking in circles. At this point, we're talking in circles.
You're saying he needs a redemption.
I'm not saying that he needs the redemption. I'm saying that it's good that he got it. Yes, I'm saying that it was a heartfelt moment. I'm saying that I still enjoyed it.
Okay, you enjoyed it,
right?
Did it have to happen at the end of the Amazing Spider-Man?
Does any of these movies have to happen?
Yes.
No.
Because it continues an arc for Tom Holland at least, even though I say that it falls short. But if we can sit here and say at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, he is Spider-Man, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then did he need a redemption? He moved past it.
Not really. He even said in the movie.
The new movie, right?
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We don't hear Batman, if I could go back and save Catwoman from electrocuting herself, I would. No, he moves forward.
Batman's also really fucking heartless.
No, remember that's when he was in love. Because remember they say Batman Returns and Batman Forever together. That he keeps trudging forward. That's what makes a hero. They don't keep living with regret. They move forward.
I mean, I think Batman has a lot of regret.
I still feels like he wants to save his parents. I still don't have this issue that you have. I still don't. Just because, I don't want to say just because you feel that they have their arcs at the end, and yes, they're still Spider-Man. I agree with all that. I still don't think that negates the actions that take place in this film. I still enjoy this film. I still enjoy what has happened. I still enjoy him getting an extra redemption. I still enjoy.
Should Toby No, my bad, Harry. Let me not throw the ball.
Both of these issues that we've now come across, both for Toby and for Andrew, it's the same issue that you have with both of them that I am overlooking that I still enjoy within this film. Both of them, you're saying they had redemption arcs, they didn't need to be in this. That's your issue with both of these characters. I am still saying, I don't care. I enjoyed the addition that we got. I enjoyed what they added in this film. I enjoyed the added mythos. I enjoyed it.
Had anything? No, we're saying redemption added.
But
something.
yeah, no. But saying that adding in the notes of Andrew Garfield's him saying that he became resentful and that he became anger filled, that is adding to his story.
Yeah, but
I'm fine with that.
What I'm saying is, did you need it once we know you still became Spider-Man?
It's still added.
It's an unanswered question, I think.
Okay.
Is it unnecessary? Possibly. Is it still good?
Asked
Yes.
That question though. It's like when fans, we need Goku's mom's story. No, we don't.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward. At the end of the day, he still becomes Spider-Man. Where like we say,
we thought.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was a new medium that had to explain why is he in this film.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, you think at the end of the day.
And also, they weren't just there for their own redeeming qualities and their own factors and stuff like that. They're also there to move Tom Holland's character forward. But they were there to help him.
Don't though. That's what I said earlier.
What do you mean? Toby stopped him from.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Toby did.
Right.
Not Tom though. So you can't say.
But then Tom still made the decision to have everybody forget at the end. Tom still made the right decision.
He was going to do that. That's not the tough decision. The tough one was, you killed my aunt.
You're going to say after losing his aunt, losing everybody else in his entire life is not a tough decision?
Like you said, the person that killed, that took something away from you, he's right there in front of you. I'm going to kill him. No, don't do it. That seems easier than, hey, just forget about me.
All I can say at this point, because again, we're going in circles on this, I disagree with what you dislike about it. What you dislike are things that I enjoyed about it. We're on different sides of this. That's all at this point I can say.
I really feel like at this point I just want people to have happy endings. That's it.
What's wrong with that?
They already had
He likes Empire Strikes Back.
They already had their endings though.
Fine, bro.
He's
if that's
Dante.
how you
No, he's
feel,
Randall.
cool. I still enjoyed it. I still think that it added. I still think that it was good storytelling, in my opinion. My only issue was the Electro thing, which you gave me new information on that. Because this has been going on for a little while now, guys. No, I understand where you're coming from with your issues. Those are non-issues to me. That's all. That's
I think they're big issues.
Yeah, and those are non-issues to me. To me, it's cool. They got brought back. It was added on. Those weren't the make it and break it situations for me. For me, I still like what happened with Tom Holland. I still like the dynamic between Green Goblin. That was actually my favorite part of the film. It wasn't necessarily Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, although I wish that they would have killed Tobey. But all in all, I still thought it was a good film. Like, I still thought that these added things and the extra, whether you think that it was necessary or not, and I can understand where you're coming from. And yes, did it need to happen? Was it necessary? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes. That's it.
Because of nostalgia?
I still enjoyed it.
That's what I'm saying. It is a story of nostalgia. That's what the big argument is.
It is. It really is.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that it's nostalgia, but that doesn't make it bad.
No, what I'm saying is when we say nostalgia,
normally I would say that it's bad, but I enjoyed where this went.
With points that say this is good, but it's your nostalgia that you wanted it, but it's like, no, it did not need to happen. That's how nostalgia works.
Cool. So I like what I'm saying is version of nostalgia. I think that this was done well.
You're saying it's great because you're nostalgia based. I'm not nostalgia based.
I'm not just nostalgia based. I still think that the story was good.
Okay, one more time. You're saying part of the story, not all of it. I'm not saying that. You say these characters have redemptions, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is they already had it. It's not my nostalgia I'm not saying blinding me. But
I still think that it's good. Like I still
because you want those nostalgic characters to have good endings.
No, I wanted Toby to die.
That you remember you said that was supposed to be his story arc, which would be a good ending because, like you said, he's redeeming himself.
Right.
But what I'm saying
also, it would introduce Miles Morales.
Right.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
in a good way.
Once you get past that, the nostalgia, it's just that these characters, they already had their conclusions. It's time for us to say they're no longer our Spider-Man.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. Wrapping this up, I feel like Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield, it was open-ended. Because whenever we, at the end of Spider-Man 3, we see him go back to MJ, but that's it.
But that's how superhero stories have to end, sadly. Either they die or it's open-ended. We get that with Dragon Ball. At the end of every arc is always open-ended. That we know he goes and trains. Frieza, remember he doesn't come to Earth. Gohan's supposed to be the new main character. Dragon Ball Z, Cell Saga, he dies.
Open-ended in order to go into a
that's how
storyline.
superhero stories have to end.
Okay.
There is no definitive ending unless they die.
You live yourself long enough to be a villain, or you die, hero.
Even then, when they die, sometimes the story keeps going.
Yeah, because, proteges. But that's what I'm saying.
Proteges and Goku just coming back.
It's one of those weird things that, at the end of the day, their main story arc to me, you still continue the journey. You put your pain behind
I don't mind the way that they did the continuation on it, though. That's all I'm saying.
I just feel like this movie was pulling on people's nostalgia strings in the sense of...
I'm not going to deny that.
And that's what I'm arguing, because you want redemption. I understand.
It's not even...
I'm not saying that's the main point. I don't want...
Right.
Because I know you have different views on it. I'm not saying that's the main thing. I'm just saying that when you say you want characters to have redemption arcs, that's because you felt a certain way back in the past that they need to have a happy ending. But what I'm saying is superhero films, we already get that ending with. It might not be happy.
But even then, this still ended in a way of it being open-ended. What does happen when they go back?
Well, that's when, the rumor of Spider-Man 4, Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't think Spider-Man 4 is going to happen. I do think that they're going to bring Tobey Maguire back.
This isn't going to be released a Snyder cut.
So that's what I'm saying.
It's not going to happen.
The difference is...
I think Tobey's going to come back and, maybe not necessarily Multiverse of Madness, but I'm willing to bet that each of these characters will be back in some form or another.
So that's what I'm saying.
And maybe what if...
We're on the two
in
different
some
ends
form or another
of the spectrum where you want them to have a final redemption arc. I'm like, they already had it.
At this point, how do I say this? I do not feel like the nostalgia is what sold me on it. I still enjoyed... Because I'm with you guys in the sense that I don't want nostalgia. I don't want things. I don't want that to be the only selling factor. I just think that the way that they went about it in this was redeeming enough for me that I still enjoyed it, and it wasn't something that negated for me. It wasn't something that just took away from me. It's still this was done to me in still a very well way. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and I don't disagree with that, because if that's what you took from it, but to me it's to me personally,
right.
You already had your redeeming qualities because you continued the journey.
Yes, yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying. We see Batman, his darkest moments. I lost my loved one, but I have to keep tracking. We see Spider-Man, Gwen dies. Mm-hmm. He does in a comic. He still continues, and that's why they say he is Spider-Man, because he's willing to push through the pain that he experiences. Now he might say, "I wish I could have," but he never goes until that stupid comic, One More Wish, where he makes the decision to, I would want to
when Mephisto comes
to keep someone alive, because he's already grown accustomed to it.
It's not more. It's one more day.
One more day, I just know it was stupid that he establishes that that's what a hero is. He has to keep trekking forward. But in this film, it's no. I'm still living with the guilt, which I understand why you say it's understandable. But we know by the time he fights Rhino, he knows what's important in the end. That you got to spider up.
As you say,
he thought he could get.
And as you say, these end in open-ended. So what's wrong with continuing it if it's always open-ended?
Because when you do that, that's a wink, wink nostalgia. Wink, wink with the. Because think about it.
I mean, agreed. This absolutely. I'm not going to deny that nostalgia is what sold this for a lot of people. I'm just saying for myself, I wouldn't lump my personal self.
Yeah, I'm not
looking at.
I'm not saying that. I'm
other
just saying,
aspects that I enjoyed about it.
It's just the redemption part. Now, I haven't repeated most of the some things I thought of as plot holes, but it's just when you look at the ramifications of what just happened. People want Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Kids do it.
4 years ago,
now they're adults.
No one wanted Amazing Spider-Man 3.
But again, now it's because the kids that grew up on that are now older.
Yeah.
It's just...
Oh, wait, you just made me think of something. So since they went off in nostalgia on this Spider-Man film, do you think they're going to go off nostalgia with the fucking X-Men too?
X-Men 2?
X-Men again. They're going to bring back the fucking X-Men from the Patrick Stewart, or what's his name?
Isn't that what they're doing?
Is it?
I think that was the rumor of what was happening.
I want new shit.
Well, I think we already had that though with First Class and Days of Future Past. Remember,
that's what I'm saying.
Halle Berry shows up. We get Magneto. So I think.
But is Hugh Jackman again gonna come back as fucking Wolverine?
Oh, and get better. He has COVID, by the way.
He's got healing factor. Is fucking Hugh Jackman gonna come back as Wolverine again? Like, we had his bookend in Logan. Let it go. Which Logan sucked, but let it go.
Oh, let Tom Holland Spider-Man go. Andrew Garfield, let it go.
I'm not down.
Yeah, I'm not down. I don't want to make Spider-Man 3. Fuck it.
Look, I'd be fine if this film went in a different direction and they didn't have him. I'm just saying, end of the day, I'm fine with the direction that it ended up going. Normally, we've had many conversations about this. Normally, I'm all against using nostalgia. Even in Dragon Ball, I'm tired of the fans asking for villains to be brought back. They want Cell to come back now and stuff, and I'm just like, no. Like, I get it. I don't want that to be the selling factor. It's just, at the end of the day, I still enjoyed the way that they went about this film. But
you have to admit that this film's biggest selling point is nostalgia.
I've never denied that. Oh. I'm just saying, for me, that's not the reason why I necessarily loved it.
So is it the reason you went to see it?
No, I went to go see it because it's a Marvel film and I'm going to see all the Marvel films, and I just happened to actually enjoy it. Yeah. I was not looking forward to this more than Batman. I'm more looking forward to Batman than I was for this. This was a pleasant surprise for me and how much I enjoyed it. That's why I'm also saying, like, for me personally, I wouldn't put myself in that group of nostalgia is the only reason that sold this. I just think it was done well. Mm-hmm. If that's the route that they were going with it, I'm happy with how they ended up doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get that. That's why I didn't want to lump you in there.
So what you said, well, I'm not trying to start anything back up, but what you said about Green Goblin of him having a bookend in this first Spider-Man film, do you agree with what they did him in this one?
What do you mean?
Where they furthered his story?
No.
You didn't agree with? You didn't
like? To me, it was the exact same Green Goblin we got. No,
I think more evil.
I definitely love that scene when he was fighting him and he just laughs in his face.
That's what I'm saying.
That was awesome.
Remember in Spider-Man 1, we do get to see how evil he is.
Yeah. I feel like this one, he's way evil. Like, it amped up.
He nukes people because me and my friend always joke, why are his pumpkin bombs different? Because one, he disintegrates people into bones. Right. So you have a nuke bomb, but I'm saying, like, in the first one, I loved it, especially the dinner scene, because it's like the psychological. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think they were trying to tell a story more than show how villainous he was, more openly.
I will say the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man, is still probably my favorite Spider-Man film. I know Spider-Man 2 is most people's favorite.
Actually, no, I like the one with Mysterio. I like Far From Home. I like that one. Wow. That's my favorite Spider-Man film.
But anyways, on a closing note, Torrin, I love these conversations with you. Yeah. I love that we can disagree and still. Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I respect where you're coming from.
Nothing but love, bro.
Yeah, no, I just disagree. Just personally disagree.
Final thought, Torrin, starting with you. What would we rate the the Far From Home or the Home trilogy?
Oh, 1 and 3 aren't that good. 2 is great.
Of the Home trilogy,
the Mysterio one?
No, I love that one. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. 2 is great. 1 isn't that good. It's okay. 3 is just like, I'd say maybe a 7. 7 out of 10.
Overall?
7 out of 10.
And you?
For which one?
The whole series, trilogy? Yeah.
Ooh.
Regardless of the other Spider-Man films.
I can go with like a 7 out of 10 as well, to be honest, overall. It definitely still has its flaws to me. 1 had a bunch of flaws for me that 2, I feel, kind of fixed some stuff. And I think 7 out of 10 is a good answer.
I'll agree with that. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, the trilogy. Like I said, my favorite Spider-Man film is the Mysterio Far From Home. I think that was a great one. I think that was a really good one. That's why I guess this new Spider-Man film I held to a huge account, but then everyone started like, oh, nostalgia, and you're bringing back the Goblin because that's who we grew up with, and like how you said your nieces, they grew up with the Andrew Garfield guy.
Nephews.
And then this new one
honestly, even some of the older groups. Like I said, my girl's sister, she's like a year younger than me, and that's her favorite. I mean, she's not like a huge comic person,
what does she know? But
I mean, she enjoyed the film. That's what she knows. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
So we'll give it a 7 out of 10. Obviously, there's going to be more Spider-Man film. Maybe a Spider-Woman film.
I think they're only going to do
3 more.
3 more. He's going to have tie-ins and, of course, Avengers and like other stuff. But
are we looking forward to the Spider-Verse 2? We're looking forward to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll be good.
I'm okay. I'm like, whatever.
I hope that they actually do Spider-Verse justice. And what are the name? Why is my mind going blank? The ones that kill the spider totems. You gotta know who I'm talking about within the Spider-Verse story itself.
Are you talking about the vampire like dude?
All of them, because it's
I don't know the name, but I think they all have one name.
Yeah. I hope that does play a factor within the Spider-Verse stuff, and I hope they do.
Are we looking forward to seeing Morbius?
I'm kind of indifferent on that one, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
Well, I'll watch it. Like, I'll watch all of it.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Like, I'll wait for it to go on the streaming.
I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, I can hope.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris, along with my hetero life mate, Mr.
Russ.
And we found him, Mr. Torin. He's here. Until next time, my name is Chris.
Hey, Torin.
Yeah, right, Tin Man. Well, Torin the Tin Man. See you next time, and that's what's up.